Mumo, Lupa, a novella by Mahesh Ravi. Chapter 1. The Girl from the Philippines. Inside the room, the only sound was the restless hum of the fan. Still lying down, I pushed the blanket aside and reached for the watch on the table. Past midnight, there was still a long time to go, but sleep wouldn't come. I got out of bed, poured myself a glass of cucumber-infused water from the pitcher on the table, and took a sip. I could feel the chill travel down my gut. She was the one who told me about this trick, cold water with cucumber slices. I had made it for her, for when she arrived. She'll be here by 3. She'll reach the city by then. I pulled on a shirt and stepped outside. The room was on the 3rd floor. Room was an understatement. It was more like a modest house. Got it last month for a steal. Much better than the old place, a box filled with newspapers and the stench of someone else's regrets. I had taken the key the very same day I saw the ad. The broker hadn't told me everything, not even close. I stepped down the stairs, past the gate, and began to walk. A light drizzle had started, just enough to feel it, but not enough to bother. Past the narrow alley and stepped onto the road. This place too was new like the house. It's barely been 3 months since I moved here for work. Before I came, I'd heard all kinds of nasty things about this neighborhood. Turns out most of them were true. There were more dogs on the street than people. And because the language barrier still made things messy, I usually walked. No need to haggle with auto drivers or risk awkward silences in cycle rickshaws. Most days, a few strays would follow me with cautious, suspicious eyes. I had to act brave, convince them I wasn't afraid. Tonight was no different. Packs of dogs lay curled beneath the faint yellow glow of each street lamp. I walked fast, past each little huddle. I had to stay out, kill time until 3, then take her back to the room. Eventually, I reached an old movie theater. Something was playing. Might as well wait inside for a bit. Dogs never wander in there. I lifted the worn bamboo curtain. A small hand reached out from behind it with a torn stub. I paid. The hand disappeared. Inside, in the dim light, I saw the boy who took tickets and an older man, half asleep in a chair, softly snoring. Every time the table fan swung toward his face, he gave a faint, contented smile. In that amber light, his grin looked like a fading wave. I must have smiled too, because the boy grinned back and motioned for me to go in. Then he turned his attention back to a book. I groped my way inside and found a seat in the dark. Of the 100 or so red chairs, maybe 4 or 5 were occupied. The film was in a language I didn't know. Must have been running for a while. Most of the others were asleep. I kept watching. On screen, a young woman was trailing an old man through deserted streets. The old man was terrified, running. The woman was changing. Slowly, her hands were now twisted, shriveled, like they belonged to someone ancient. It was horror. That much was clear. I pulled my legs up onto the seat in front of me and closed my eyes. It must be past 1 by now. She'll be here by 3. Her name was Ligaya. I met her the day I moved into the new place. A Filipina girl I found online, wandering the internet under the strange name Caperos. What started as a random joke turned into a real friendship, fast. She once told me Caperos meant faceless in her language, and Ligaya meant joy. Joyful days those were. We talked every day about everything under the sun. She sent short stories to little magazines. Sometimes she'd send them to me too, even though I couldn't understand the words. Said she was working on a big novel, that she'd give me a copy when we met. Today, we were going to meet. Her flight would land at 3. She'd get a cab to the main junction near my house. From there, she'd have to walk. I must have dozed off thinking all that. When I opened my eyes again, a harsh light was shining in my face. I jolted awake. It was the same boy, He moved the flashlight aside and said the film was over, then left. I found my shoes in the dark and stepped outside. Still night, still dark, around 2:30. On the walk back, I noticed a glow and the murmur of a crowd. Looked across the road. The light was coming from the far side, neon tubes spelling out Niamit. I'd heard of this midnight diner. Always wanted to check it out. But laziness kept me from staying up this late. Even the elderly, wrapped in shawls, stood there staring, their old, cloudy eyes glowing with a strange kind of hunger. Then suddenly, shouts erupted, whistling, catcalls. It didn't take long to realize the rumors were all true. Music began, something strange and dissonant. Then they appeared, half-dressed girls with liquor bottles in their hands. A few men from the crowd pushed inside. The rest cheered from the roadside. Something about it all felt wrong. I picked up my pace, still had time, could shower before she arrived. There was a shortcut to the house. A narrow path squeezed between two tightly built compound walls. A single slab of concrete wide enough for one person. Rainwater from earlier had left the walls damp and streaked. Suddenly, the image of the ghost from the movie popped into my head. I turned around. A shadow. Or maybe just my imagination. Nothing was there when I looked again. I walked on. At one bend, a man lay sprawled on the ground, singing, Shoki babona kahare bole, Shoki jotona kahare bole, Tomra je bolo dibosho rojoni, Balobasha, balobasha. His breath reeked of spirit. I stepped around him and climbed the stairs. Room 312. The room was warm and quiet. I opened the cupboard and took out a white shirt. Her favorite color, I remembered. I had washed and folded it days ago, grabbed a towel and went into the bathroom. While I was bathing, I thought I heard a faint knock. Once, then again. Was she here already? I finished up quickly, threw the towel around me and opened the door. To be continued.